Welcome to PSD Unleashed. In this tutorial, we will be transforming a photograph into a computer-generated drawing. The purpose of this would be for those people who are not very adept at drawing as yet, to have a piece of work in which they can use to develop a painting and concept art, fine arts. So let's get this thing underway. You'll see we have a photograph here that is not particularly a very good photograph. It is somewhat overexposed. There's some minor pixelization in it. But I chose this photograph to show you that you do not have to have perfect photographs to work from. Of course, it's always good to have good, crisp, clean, well-focused photographs, but it's not absolutely necessary. You don't have to have a $1,000 or $5,000 camera to take photographs. A simple point and shoot camera will suffice. You'll notice we have our layers palette open, our history palette, and our adjustments window here. So let's begin this thing. We've got our background, which is locked. We do not want it locked. We want to unlock that, so we will left double click that, and we will name it layer 0. Now, our work process is to go into our adjustments layer, and we want to completely desaturate this layer. We will take the saturation slider and move it all the way to the left. Alright, we can close that. Now we have two layers. We have a hue and saturation layer, and we have our original layer. Select our original layer and duplicate it. On our duplicate layer, we want to do Control I to invert the image. That would be Command I for you Macintosh users. And on our blending mode, we would like to go to either color dodge or linear dodge. I invite you to experiment and play with these a bit, see which will work best for you, and invariably one or the other will work best depending upon the photograph. So what we want to use is linear dodge in this particular instance. Now it would appear that we've wiped our screen clean, but that's not so. Our graphic is still there. It just needs to be brought out with a filter. So we'll go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And you see we have a very nice drawing of our subject at 9.5 pixel radius. You'll notice that we can take this up and obtain almost the desaturated photograph that we had in our original layer when we desaturated the original layer. But that's a little bit more than what we actually want. So we're going to take this back down to 9.5, and we're going to select OK on that. Now what we have here is our computer generated drawing from our photograph. The problem being is that this document is our original photograph, and we want to preserve our original photograph to use as a reference later on. So what we need to do is create a new document. But before we can create a new document, we need to flatten this image. So we'll go Layer, Flatten Image, and our image is flattened. Now, what we want to do is do Control or Command A to select all. Control C to copy. Control N for new. Alright, here we will need to decide whether we are going to print this thing or we're going to put it up for viewing on the internet. For training purposes, I'm going to reduce this to 72 dpi as if we were going to put it up on the internet. If we were going to print it, it would need to be a minimum of 300 dpi. Background is white. Let's kick this up to 16 bits so that we'll have filters available later on if we need them. Hit OK. Now we have our new document. We do Control V or Command V to paste. We'll go back to our original document. You can see it is still selected. Control D to deselect. Here, go back to our history palette and click on the history palette where we initially opened the photograph. Here we have our photograph restored to its original version without any of the destructive forces that we've imposed upon it. We have that now for our reference. We can move that to a new window. Move this one, our new computer generated drawing, to a new window. And you can see we have our computer generated drawing. We have our reference. You'll notice we have a little bit of artifact in the background. That's okay. We have a white background. We have our computer generated drawing. You can take the eraser tool and just erase out that artifact. Or you can leave it in there. I mean, that can also serve as texture when you're doing your painting and your background and what have you. Alright, that's how we transform a photograph to a computer-generated drawing to be used for tracing or drawing for a piece of fine art or concept work. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and remember, always unleash the dream.